Low interest rates have made it a lot easier to buy more expensive homes because most of us out there only care about the monthly mortgage payment. But the problem is, just because you think you can afford the monthly payment doesn't actually mean you can afford the house. Because you've always got to understand that you're going to have the monthly mortgage payment plus the other associated fees with owning the home, like property taxes, insurance, HOA fees, and maybe even PMI, which is private mortgage insurance, if you don't have 20% down on your home. Now, normally it's recommended that your mortgage alone shouldn't exceed 28 to 31% of your gross monthly income. So for instance, if you make $120,000 a year gross, then you're going to be pulling in $10,000 a month. And if you go off 30%, then that's obviously going to be a $3,000 mortgage that's recommended for the home that you can afford. But I don't think this is a very good way to measure how much home you can afford, because for starters, I think that you should at least be basing it off of your net income, meaning how much you're bringing home after taxes, because that's really how much money you're really seeing every single month. And then on top of that, you also need to account for, like I said, the associated costs that are also going to come with the home that you own. Now, the way I figure out home affordability is pretty simple, but it is my opinion. So take whatever advice you want from this and you can do the math yourself. Or you can search online and you can find other ways to figure out how much home you can afford, but this is just my simple way of doing it. The first thing I need to mention is how long your mortgage needs to be. And honestly, I don't have a problem with 30-year mortgages, especially right now, because interest rates are so low and I understand that home prices keep going up. Now, obviously, if you can afford to get into a 15 or a 20-year mortgage, go ahead and do that. But I'm okay with 30 years and that's what I'm going to base the math off of. And I also recommend that you try and put 20% down on your home, because if you do, you're going to have a lower payment, you're going to pay less in interest over time, and you're not going to be paying PMI, which is private mortgage insurance, if you're putting at least 20% down or more on the home. But I also understand that that's a lot of cash, especially if you don't have equity rolling over from another home. Like for instance, if you're a first-time home buyer and you're just saving up cash from the beginning, it is hard to come up with 20%, especially with the really high home prices. So I'm okay here. I'm going to say that you can go between 10 and 20% down, but don't go below 10%. I want you putting at least 10% down and try for 20 if you can. So in my opinion, if you take on a 30-year mortgage and you put 10 to 20% down on the home, then what I'm going to say here is that your mortgage and all the other associated costs with owning the home should not exceed 30 to 35% of your net take-home pay. So if you happen to bring in $8,000 every single month after taxes, then technically your mortgage and the associated costs should be about $2,400 to $2,800, and that's including everything. And I would also factor in your existing debt as well, because if you've got a lot of monthly debt payments that you have to make, then I don't want those exceeding 10% of your net income. So if you've got a car, credit cards, all sorts of debt, don't exceed 10% of your net monthly take-home pay. So as an easy example here, if you do bring in $8,000 a month net, then all of your debt payments combined shouldn't be more than $800 a month. Otherwise, you probably shouldn't be taking on a mortgage, or you should be getting those debts chiseled down before you take on a home. Because the big problem here is if you're already stretching out your mortgage to 35% of your income, and let's say you have 20% in debt payments, then now you're looking at 55% in total income being gone every single month for your house and those debts. And that's just too much money considering you have the rest of life that you have to pay for. So you really don't want to be house poor. You want to be safe and you want to have money for everything that's coming at you: emergencies, life, groceries. Everything has to happen and you just don't want to be stretched too far. So if you want to figure out how much home you can afford, just take on a 30-year mortgage, put 10 to 20% down on the home, and then make sure that your mortgage and the other fees don't exceed 35% of your net monthly take-home pay. And then also don't let your debt payments exceed another 10% of your monthly net. So as long as you're at 45% or less, including all of the debts, then you're probably okay to go ahead and take on the mortgage.